Hey, Bob.
That's been way too long. Oh man.
Way too long.
Sorry guys.
Our apologies to all of the Hey Bub followers out there. It has been a long summer.
Yeah. It's been about 4 months since we officially recorded a podcast.
It has
I think it was
been.
in April.
I think
So
we did an update maybe in June
yeah.
and from Outer Banks, North Carolina, but life has been crazy hectic. Both of us have changed jobs. I've moved. And I'm a Hoosier again. So back in the Hoosier state. And
Not that
life
you
is,
ever weren't a Hoosier.
yeah, I
Just
mean, yeah, I've always been a Hoosier at heart.
technically,
But
it's
I
officially.
kind of had dual citizenship, you know. I lived in Illinois for 9 years and of course I love Indiana. That's where my roots are. And my farm is, in Indiana. So but
Yeah.
we're back, and man, things are really picking up steam fast. We're heading right into fall. We got one day. We're recording this on the 30th of August, so one day of August left tomorrow, and then yeah,
Like
so
September's coming, baby.
big September. Lots happened. We certainly have, even though Hey Bub hasn't been recording, we've been trying to get things done, and we'll share a little bit about kind of our summer activities, and also want to just talk about trail cameras for a little bit because yeah, it's something it's a tool a lot of us use, I think, and I think Matt and our experience with trail cameras here in the last year will highlight just kind of what it's like sometimes with trail cameras. But then
The good, bad, and the ugly.
good, bad, and the ugly, yeah. And then we're going to talk a little bit about hunting season because it's coming in quick. But Matt, give us a rundown. What have you been doing this summer to kind of help prepare for 2021 hunting season?
Yeah, I got to be honest. I've done a lot less scouting this year than typical. In past years, I've been hitting public land really hard come first day of archery season, and this year, I'll be honest, I don't have a great plan moving forward for archery on public land. Still going to get out and try and hunt, but it's been a while since I've set foot on some public ground. Probably close to when we recorded our last podcast, which was back in April.
Oh,
Um,
man.
yeah, it's been some time, but that being said, I've got some private ground that I've been keeping close eyes on, and we'll touch on that some more with the trail camera talk. But just trying to get my bow set up a little bit different. So I'm not sure how many of you guys pay a lot of attention to some of the trends that are happening and some of the crazes that are happening within the archery realm, but a lot of people, and there's some science behind it too, and that's kind of made me want to experiment some more with my setup. A lot of people are going to a heavier FOC or higher FOC, which means front of center. So trying to get more weight to the front of your arrow, and that helps to really penetrate better. And so one of the things that I've done this year, which is a switch for me, is I'm using the same broadhead as last year. It's a single bevel 250 grain, so it's a hefty broadhead. But I'm switching to carbon arrows. So yesterday, actually, I finally had the chance. I ordered them in probably over a month ago. Yesterday, finally had the chance to go to my buddy's house, Ken Frymore, and he helped me cut him down. He's got a little setup there, like a little archery shop in his basement, basically, and it's really nice.
Shout out
And
to Ken, longtime Hey Bub supporter. So
he's an OG
he's faithful.
supporter.
That's right.
Yeah. So hey, Bob, hey Ken. So he helped me cut him down and fletch him and all that, and so I haven't officially shot them yet, which is scary because Adam, I think opening day is the 18th, September 18th here in PA. So for our region specifically, the rest of the state kind of opens a little bit later. But so I need to get those fine tuned. I have obviously already my bow setup is good to go. Nothing's changing there, same site and everything else. But we'll need to change my pins a little bit because I'm shooting a lighter arrow. even though my broadhead's still really hefty. So I'm excited about that. Excited to see how it changes my bow speed. I think it'll be a little bit faster. I'll be able to shoot a little bit further and flatter. So I'm not sure if that will be a huge difference, but I think I was shooting FMJs, which are an aluminum arrow. And I think the grains
per carbon insert.
Yeah. And I think they're what, like 13 grains per inch or something.
They're heavy.
Maybe even more than that.
Yeah.
And the new ones are like 10. So over about 30 inches of arrow, 29 inches, makes a big difference.
What kind of inserts are you doing? How heavy are you going on the insert?
I'm going to play around with it a little bit. But I'm keeping like the stock insert for now. And then I also bought, the nice thing about these, they're Hunter XTs, gold tip Hunter XTs.
Shooting. Mm-hmm.
The nice thing about it is, and I looked at a bunch of different brands, but these have on the inserts, you can get weights that you can screw into the back of the insert. So you just take out your nock and you get this long tool and you can screw in weights. I got 10 grain increments, so you can kind of change it around and make heavier ones too. But that's another way to add more weight to the front. If you have those gold tip arrows, if you're just trying to get a little more weight, you can keep your same broadhead set up. And
did you do 300 spine or 250, Matt?
I did 250. My draw weight's about 70 pounds, and I have about a 30 inch draw. So they told me, I think I talked to somebody at Gold Tip, and they said they recommend the 250. So that's what I went for. We'll see how it goes.
Have you put them on a scale yet to see?
I haven't yet. No. I think at one point I had broken out, because you can find all the measurements online, at least ballpark pretty close. And I think I calculated it all. I forget what the number was, but I'm still like in the 600 area. So it's still a pretty heavy arrow in comparison to what a lot of guys are shooting. But
I think I'm 645 is where I'm at.
Yeah.
And I'm shooting those same arrows, but in 300 spine. But I'm only using 125 grain broadhead and then a 200 grain insert. So,
oh, wow.
That's what I'm picking up.
It's a lot of weight up front.
FOC.
Yeah. Well, when you think about it, I mean, especially for whitetail, while we're hunting, you really don't need a super fast arrow. Mm-hmm. But yeah, go ahead and watch it. I mean, there's a lot of videos out there. If you guys like go on YouTube and search high FOC arrow setup, you can get a lot of information on, why people are moving that direction and kind of the science behind it. But the proof's
Ranch Fairy.
Ranch Fairy.
Some public guys have picked up on it some. So
yeah. Ranch Fairy is a polarizing character, but he's got some good stuff.
The buck I shot last year, Matt, with my bow, quartering towards, through the front shoulder, passed through on the other side. It just wrecked. I mean, it was the most efficient kill.
Yeah.
And I was using the cutthroat broadheads and those
single bevel, aren't they?
Yeah, single bevel.
Yeah.
And they were sharp. And I went through the whole sharpening process. So a lot of work there, but man, when it comes time for it to count, you really want it to be efficient when it gets there. And 2 years ago, we were doing stuff for a particular show and needed to use, particular broadheads. And these were mechanical broadheads that we were using. And I had one deflect off a back rib on a quartering away shot and ended up going the other direction and lost about a 165 inch 9-pointer. I mean, it didn't kill him. But it was devastating to me. So
that was the last mechanical broadhead.
Last mechanical I'll ever shoot, unless it's at a turkey.
Yeah, some people swear by them, and I mean, if you're a nice close shot and you're super accurate,
if I'm using one again, it's going to be cut on contact.
Yeah,
no chisel tip. So
yeah.
Well, we've been doing a lot of projects. This is going to be my first year really hunting the farm. I've done just a hunt here or there in the last, 7 years, but being only 35 minutes away now, that kind of puts me in the game for being able to start to figure that place out. And so I've done a lot of controlled burns, and I'll show you some of the footage here from, this was probably 3 or 4 weeks back. This is my second year of doing a controlled burn on about 18 acres of cattle pasture. So It was a place that I originally had thought about doing a pollinators program, and it didn't get funded in 2020. So I pulled my name out of the application process and just said, I'm going to just burn it again instead of spending all kinds of crazy money on pollinator seed, and just see what happens. And man, it's coming alive. And so that's been really fun to see things come back. I've got a lot of little blue coming back. Just a lot of great pollinating forbs and wildflowers. And so it's been a really good thing. But I did go through here the last couple of weeks. I've gone through and doing a different method for food plots. I'm doing a no-till method for food plots, but I'm identifying areas where I've burned a couple times and it just seems like things still aren't coming back. So there's 7, food plots that are anywhere between half acre to acre and a half that I've put into a diverse mix, of, I got winter wheats, winter rye, winter oats, radish, turnips, clovers, annual clovers like Balanza. I have, Ladino and some medium red in there. The only thing at this point that I'm kind of regretting is not the diversity, how much I've thrown out, but I'm kind of wishing I wouldn't have done anything perennial. I wish I would have gone all annual. So next spring I could come in and do an annual summer plot and just terminate it by rolling. I had really good success this fall of using a roller to create a mulch mat for the seed that I broadcasted, and really interested in seeing how that works in comparison to an area where I mowed and then broadcasted and did a herbicide application. I don't get any joy out of using herbicide, but at the same time, when it comes to restoring stuff back to native vegetation, there's just some hurdles you got to jump through, and one of them is eradicating invasive species. And so some of those areas that are just loaded with invasives, it's just so hard to it's so hard to combat it other than use a herbicide application. So, but really excited to see how those things go. Finally got some rain, maybe up to an inch of rain today on the farm. So I haven't heard for sure, but hopefully that'll get things germinated, because I think the seed's been there for a week and a half, 2 weeks, and it hasn't germinated yet. So
oh man,
we'll see how it goes, but been doing that and enjoying that, and starting to pick up some pretty good bucks on the farm. In fact, I have been about all summer. So let's kind of switch and transition to talk about trail cameras for just a second. I made a purchase. It was like end of season sale at Walmart, probably 2019. After the 2019 season, I found 2 of these 5-point micro SD cameras, and I bought 2 of them. I think I got them for, it was, I don't know, $60, $70 a piece, something like that. And I thought, it's 70% off, it's a pretty good price point, and I'll give it a try. So I bought 2 of them and put 2 of them out last year. And I put lithium batteries in each of them. And I have, I used them during the rut. I had them send me pictures in time.
They're cell cameras.
They're cell cameras.
Yeah.
And but my typical setup for them is they send me one picture, or they send me pictures once a day. I have it set for like 10 o'clock in the morning. And I have them taking pictures 3 minutes apart. So it's not taking multiple pictures of the same deer over and over again. And as of today, on the same set of batteries, my camera still reads, and I checked it right before we met again, Matt, it still reads that I have 100% battery. And I only have one of them out right now. The other one I took down when I moved. I had one in Illinois and one in Indiana. But so as you might guess, I'm thinking, man, I have hit the jackpot in trail cameras. And so I go and tell Matt, hey, this is the camera you got to buy. This is, at that point last year, I had it out September, October, November, December, and I was still excited that I had 100% battery. I'm still at 100% battery 8 months later, but in that time frame, Matt, how many Spy Point, cell cam, micro SD cameras have you gone through?
So I got my first one back in December 2020. I put it out and it ran good. I'll say I put it on private land. It ran probably for about a month, 2 months. And I was getting pictures as expected. It connected fine to cell signal. The battery seemed to be doing pretty good. I was surprised. Didn't have to go and change it for about a 2-month period of time. And I was like, man, this is awesome. Like I didn't do the once a day route. I couldn't handle that. So I think I ended up doing like twice a day. And I forget how often I was telling it to take pictures, but a little more frequent than what you did. That being said, in April, something happened. And I don't know if it was like a firmware update on the camera from SpyPoint's end or what. But all of a sudden, one day, it just took a picture every single minute for like 5 hours. And it sent them all at once. And all of a sudden, I have notification and I have like 500 pictures that came through. And I'm like, oh, man, like this is what is happening in front of my camera right now. But I'm thinking like this is probably not good. So I open up and they have an app, which is nice because you open up the app. It tells you the cell strength on your camera, like if you're in a bad cell area to let you know the battery level, as Adam said. And then it also has a catalog of your pictures and you can purchase they're pretty inexpensive plans.
Yeah.
Like 250 pictures, I think is like $4 a month or something. Yeah. So this totally drained out my subscription. And then the camera died. Like I go into the app, the battery's at 0%, and I have pictures of absolutely nothing for like 5 hours straight every minute. So I'm like, oh no, something bad happened. So a few weeks later, I finally get time to go out and I pick up the camera, which I don't like to, I use the cell camera in that spot because I didn't want to be in and out of there much. And so I went and got it. And within like a couple days, probably I had time to reach out to SpyPoint, and they hooked me up with a brand new one. They're like, well, we can't figure out what's going on. We formatted the memory card and all that stuff, got new batteries in it. And they're like, we'll just send you a new one. So the customer service was really great. Actually, they troubleshooted with me over the phone and sent me a new camera. Within about a week, I had it. And so I turned it on and I'm just trying to do the initial setup thing and it won't connect. It won't connect to the network. I'm using a brand new memory card that I formatted with their process, meets all their requirements, brand new batteries, and it never connects. So a few days later, I'm like, I'm just gonna have to call SpyPoint back and troubleshoot again. They're like, oh man, like we can't figure out what's going on. This doesn't happen. And so like we'll send you out another one, like, and then you just return the one that you gave that we sent to you. So they sent another one. And this one, I finally get to connect. I had some issues with it at first, but I got to connect. I take it out to the field. And within a matter of about 3 days, it did the same thing. It took pictures every minute for hours at a time, drained the batteries. And this has been the story. It's currently sitting out on a tree with dead batteries. And I haven't gone back out to touch it because I hate to bother the area that it's in. Because the nice thing is I did have on a separate camera close by, which is one of the Walmart like Tasco cameras. That thing has been bulletproof for me. It takes pictures. They're pretty clear. The batteries last forever. And I know there's bucks in the area, so I'm very hesitant to go in and swap them out. But yeah, it's funny because like you had a great experience. I've had a terrible experience. And it just goes to prove like cell cameras are one of those things that are completely hit or miss. No matter what brand it is, it seems like all of them have their issues and it's really inconsistent. So yeah, if you're looking for recommendations, I don't recommend that one. But maybe some of the other SpyPoint ones are better. I'm not sure if that's like a problematic camera for them or what, but
Yeah. So my theory, and I can't prove this, but I think, I don't know everything in the production process for a lot of these trail cameras. I mean, I do know, a lot of them are imported in. And so I think the production varies, and even the quality of a particular camera can vary depending on when it was produced and where it was produced and all those sorts of things. But one thing that I've kind of done is I've set a price standard of saying, okay, I'm not going to spend. So for instance, on those Walmart Tascos, first year, I had heard one of my buddies had tried one and said, hey, this is a pretty good camera. So I picked one up. I tried it for a couple of weeks. It worked great. So I went back, and for $30 a piece, I think I went back and maybe, I don't know how many I bought, 5, 6. I had some Christmas money. I went back and bought 5 or 6 of those things, and I used them the entire year, the next year. That was in 2018. Okay. So that was 3 years ago. I have used those, and at the end of that year, they all worked. I found on Dick's Sporting Goods, I had a gift card at the end of the year to a sporting goods store, and they had a camera that was made by Primos, but it was the same interface as the Tasco. So I took a chance on 5 more of them, and all of those cameras are still working flawlessly. Are they the best quality picture? No, not really. But I can tell which deer it is. The camera's fine. I don't use it for video. I put them in places where I don't care if they get stolen. And I every year now, those cameras have produced. And so I've set the standard of, all right, if I find something that works, I'm going to go with it. I'm not going to spend, just to be honest, more than 30, 35 bucks on a trail camera. Because what I found is it doesn't matter if it's $30 or $180. A lot of these cameras all have the same issues, and they're all made in very similar places. So of course, USA made trail cameras. That's a whole nother ball game, but it's also a whole nother price point.
Are there any?
Yes.
Who makes what trail cameras are made in the US?
Exodus.
Oh, Exodus are. Okay.
Is made in the US. And I think Reconyx is made in the US.
Well, those you're talking $200-$300 for like the bottom of the barrel.
I mean, cell cameras, you're talking, last time I looked, $500. I mean, that's just so unrealistic for me.
Yeah.
So, but if you take a chance on I always take a chance on the ones that are on sale and see what works. I don't go to Walmart or any big box store and spend $170 on a single trail camera, where a lot of those people are having the same issues. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And this Spy Point one I got, the normal price is like $100.
Yeah.
So I kind of took a jump and was like, all right, I'm gonna get a nice camera.
Right.
And tell you what, guys, very disappointed.
Yeah.
But if you guys have ones that you like and have good
success
with, let us know, because I'm in the market. Need to replace this one. Hopefully they'll eventually just refund me my money and call it a day. But we'll see. So
we're making plans for the rest of the fall, and we're planning for the show too, and wanting to bring on some folks that I think will have a lot of insight, and looking forward to sharing that. But there's one more thing before we close out that I'd like to talk about, just because this has been something that's been on my radar for a few years now, and I feel like I need to share it. So if what we share in any way helps anybody, or can, if you want to pass this stuff along, I don't have anything other than common sense behind what I'm about to share. But I have a rule, Matt, going into 2021 hunting season, that I am not going to put a tree stand or sit in a ground blind or anything like that that's within 50 yards of a ash tree. And the reason being, emerald ash borer went through our area a few years back. I guess it's still here in some cases, but really a major push a few years back. And all of the ash trees in our area, they're all dead by and large. I mean, if you have an ash that's still alive, it's the exception, not the rule. And all of those trees are starting to fall. and they're incredibly dangerous. Just last Friday, we had a tree that was actually on the neighbor here in the new neighborhood we're living in, about a 22 inch ash tree, probably. Here's some video of it right here where you guys can check it out. But it was just incredible how it all worked out to our benefit. I mean, by God's grace, it broke 2 feet above the fence, missed our shed by 2 feet, missed our house by a couple of feet, missed the dogs by a couple of feet. I mean, I couldn't have placed it in a better spot, but it was a reminder for me that, hey, right now we got a hurricane pushing through a lot of these areas. And as these trees die, they absorb water, they get heavy, and they are so unstable. So if you guys don't know what an ash tree looks like, at this point, you can just pretty much identify it by, it's probably the dead trees that are on your hunting place right now. And be attentive. I know a lot of guys already have tree stands out, but pay attention to what's around you, because we get tunnel vision when the rut's here, and you do not want to be sitting downwind on a windy late October, evening after those October rains that always bring the leaves down, and the trees start to shift. Their weight is shifting because the leaves are releasing, and all of a sudden those things become really super dangerous. So my rule in 2021 soapbox time is I'm not going to sit within 50 yards of a dead ash tree.
Yeah, that's a great rule. And that goes for any dead tree as well.
Yeah.
Even if it's not an ash and you notice that you're set up near a dead tree, and you need to change that setup. Sometimes it can be tricky, especially if you're going in the dark in the morning and you're doing more of a mobile setup with a climber or saddle or hang on or whatever. But try and be attentive to what kind of trees are around you. If you get up there and comes daylight and you see that you got a dead tree 20 feet from you, you need to change where you're at. It's not worth it. So,
Well, guys, we appreciate you staying with us, and we promise it won't be that long next time. So we'll see you real soon. We really appreciate you guys joining us on this edition of Hey Bub Outdoors. We look forward to 2021 hunting season. We'll see you guys on the other side. Have a good day.
Take care.